Can you figure out where I am right now? Does it look familiar? This will look familiar in a second. Ready? Oh, it's the New York Paris Baguette. Yeah, it's so authentic.
I'm in Food Gallery 32 right now in K-Town in Manhattan, and this is Rufus. Rufus has his own blog about Korean cinema, which I'm going to link to below. I've known Rufus since NYC Korean class.
Yeah, a while.
And we both went to Yonsei as exchange students, so we've been in the whole Korea thing for a while. Rufus still lives in New York, in the city technically.
Yeah.
And I guess we kind of want to talk about that. New York City is not bad, but it's not like a fantasy land.
It's not Sex and the City.
No. Like, Koreans always seem to think it's Sex and the City. They always compare it to that.
Well, it's funny because every time when I was living in Korea and we'd meet somebody, they'd be like, oh, I love New York. I went to New York in 1992 or whatever, like, specific year that they knew that they were going to move to New York.
I mean, like, visiting is good. Like, if you visit just for 1 week, you're going to see all the cool stuff. It'll seem like a fantasy land then, at least. I mean, Times Square still looks cool.
Yeah, except you don't go there when you actually live in New York.
Yeah. There's no reason to. People on the sidewalk, you see people who are going somewhere. Like, no one's just kind of hanging out or like...
No.
And everyone's angry.
At least in New York. In Brooklyn, some people hang out.
Yeah.
But in New York, everyone's busy. And if you're too slow, they'll push you.
Yeah. Or, I mean, maybe in, like, the village, people are hanging out, but mostly, especially Midtown, Uptown, in the, like, Fifth Avenue, like, people are walking somewhere. They're not just, like, I don't know, they're not just taking it in and saying, like, oh, I live in Manhattan or something.
And, like, if you're a businessman in New York, you're always going somewhere. You're always going to another business meeting. You're always... have a briefcase, talking on the cell phone. You don't care about whoever's in your way. It's rough.
Like, I feel like in Korea, if you see businessmen outside, that's when they're happy, when they're not sitting at their desk, when they're not in a meeting. But here, when they're outside, they're just going somewhere.
Yeah. I think people are generally just angry because we're always busy. Because living in New York is insanely expensive. So if you actually live in New York, especially if you live in Manhattan, I mean, you're paying like $3,200 for a one-bedroom apartment per month.
Yeah.
So unless you have a really, really, really good job, you're working just to live in Manhattan.
And like public transportation, like I wanna film on the subway, but people will like punch me in the face if I do that.
Yeah, or cops will arrest you.
I mean, it's not nice. It's dirty. I mean, we were gonna meet. I was 20 minutes late because the train just didn't show up. 20 minutes for a subway train.
Yeah. So Seoul, I feel like is much more on time. I mean, the subway in Seoul is the best subway I've ever been to anywhere. But New York, trains are always breaking down. I mean, it runs 24/7, and I mean, to be fair, more people take the 456 line in one day than take the entire Paris subway system, like all trains combined. So I mean, it's servicing a lot of people, and it's really, really old, so that's why it always breaks down. But it always smells like pee.
You know, visit New York, but it's not like, it's not, I don't know, what do people really think it is? You can't be this writer and live in like an amazing...
No, you're not going to be out with your girlfriends every night, like drinking martinis and talking about boys.
No.
Or, you know, you're not going to be living, I don't even know what the guy equivalent is to Sex and the City.
I mean, do people really live alone here?
No, everyone has roommates, unless you're rich.
They're either married or they have several roommates.
I have 3 roommates.
That's why I prefer to live in Seoul. It's more fun and it's more inexpensive, reasonable.
And it's easier to get around, and taxis are, I want to talk about taxis. Taxis in Seoul are way better than taxis in New York. Taxis in New York are too expensive. They won't go places when you ask them to. And
they'll yell at you.
And it feels like you're about to die. Although when I first went to Seoul, the taxi rides were pretty crazy. but at least they're cheap.
Yeah.
We're in K-Town. I mean, Koreans don't hang out in K-Town really because,
It's expensive.
well, there's that, but the rest of the city is, Koreans like Manhattan in general, but whatever. We decided to come to K-Town to be authentic about this.
Yes.
All right, see you.